live in the dungeon. This is the Dream Warrior Review. I'm Kurt Thomas.
I'm Miq Strawn.
Let's the brain that wouldn't die. We had to do this one. I felt like we had to do some sci-fi, and I thought this was kind of a good one. It's kind of a bridge between sci-fi and a little bit of horror, maybe.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
A doctor experimenting with transplant techniques keeps his girlfriend alive. I think she was a fiance, actually, technically.
Yeah.
Or maybe, did they get married yet? I think they might have been married.
I think that they were married. Well,
okay. His wives, girlfriends, whatever. His woman's head alive when she is decapitated in a car crash. And by the way, her head looked really nice for being in a car crash.
Did. I mean, it did.
Then goes hunting for a new body for her.
That's basically all we need to talk about,
So
really.
it's the age-old story. Man accidentally kills his wife.
And then tries to bring her back to life.
And then tries to bring her back to life by going out clubbing and coming back with the body of a stripper.
Yes.
To put his bride's head on. Age-old story. I think that there's a Greek. One of the Greek plots, the original 50 plots, is this story.
Yeah. Well, I first saw this on Mystery Science Theater.
Yeah.
On TV really late at night. I don't remember when it was.
Wow.
But yeah.
You mean where they mock a film?
I can believe it.
They would mock this?
They were making fun of it.
This is a giant of a film.
There were some really melodramatic moments, especially with the friend scientist. I can't remember the guy's name.
Yeah.
Friend.
His angst was
yes.
His angst was scenery chewing, I have to say.
Scenery chewing.
Yeah, scenery chewing.
Kurt.
Angst.
The guy's name was Kurt.
Yeah. Oh, well, Kurt.
Yeah.
Well, you should have understood how he did that. Oh, yeah, no,
the best actress actually was the head, I think.
It actually was the head.
Yeah, Virginia
and you know what?
Lee.
There was something slightly riveting about the whole device that was around her head, the pan, the whole bit. It just had this great look for what it was supposed to be. I mean, you're right. Her head was beautiful,
and the weird tubes that had the air bubbles in them.
Air bubbles in them.
It's like, that can't be right.
Yeah, it was terrific. No, I mean, her head was terrific.
No, that was the best part.
It was the best part.
Her sitting there.
And did you notice this, that it didn't have close-ups?
No, it didn't. Not really.
It didn't. I mean, the only close-up that you ever saw in the lab was her head, which was that one shot, and that shot was used all the time.
There was one close-up, though, of Jason Voorhees without his mask on. Coming out of the room.
Yeah. Well, but I'm
Did
saying,
you not think that was Jason Voorhees when he came out, without the mask?
Right, exactly.
Like, there you go.
Oh, yeah. It's not like they didn't steal.
Kind of a later,
totally. Yeah,
later version of him, but
right.
After he'd been through so much. So anyway, that's what Jason looks like if you want to know.
And by the way, the hooker or the
right, the escort or whatever you want to call it.
The escort ran
back then. She'd be a hooker.
Yeah, ran off with the thing in the closet. Yeah. Spoiler alert: ran off with the thing in the closet and burned the other one to death. Man.
Well, I mean, why not?
Yeah.
I mean, if you just get out of the closet and you look like that, have a little fun.
No, it's true.
Because you're probably gonna get shot at some point.
It's really true. And think of the gratitude.
Yes.
Maybe a little piece of gratitude, as it were.
Thank you for saving me, weird creature.
Weird creature. Yeah, I love the way that they did the speeding of the car, which
made no sense. He's like, "Oh, I'm suddenly in a hurry."
Right, and the great thing about it was
because that's basically how it went. He's like, "Oh, I gotta get to the lab. Oh, I'm suddenly in a hurry," and then he slams on his gas, and I'm like,
right, and they kept doing shots of him, close-ups of his foot going down on the gas,
and then his face grimacing,
and then you would see pictures of the signage on the side of the road that was just a caution sign.
Yes, caution,
and then stop,
sharp
curve, and then the wreck.
It was like that Dead Man's Curve video,
right?
But
what's great is in the end, the only view of an accident is literally a hand laying on the window next to in the door that's got the broken glass on it.
Well, there's a close-up
with a flame bar up underneath it. That was the only shot that you saw of the car.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I wrote, you know, on the piece of paper that I didn't bring, I wrote that they sure got out of that wreck cheap, because then he reaches over and then grabs something in his jacket and goes away. But
yeah, he's sitting there holding it.
Yeah, he's sitting there holding it. So he goes away with the head.
He found a pumpkin in the field.
Right,
That's what I was thinking.
Exactly.
I mean, what wouldn't you do? You might freak out. Who knows?
And I just love the extension of his thinking.
Yes.
Was he comes up and he hands it to the stand-in for Igor.
To Kurt.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, to Kurt. Yeah, stand-in for
creepy,
Igor. Yeah, creepy with the creepy
guy.
hand, you know. And by the way, there was a point in there where he's... the guy with the hand, Igor, Kurt, is talking to the woman, and they're having this discussion, this argument, and he's going, "Well, I'm here with my hand, and I can't go out because my hand is horrible, is deformed." You know, and I'm going, "Yeah, you know what? This kind of reminds me of that first world problems because she's only got a head."
And then his other arm got ripped off. That's amazing.
That's right. Oh, yeah. You know, that's a bad couple of days right there.
Yes. Well, that's karma is what that is.
Exactly. You know, like,
one thing that got me about this, I was 10 minutes in and I was thinking, okay, this sounds exactly like those old radio shows I like to listen to sometimes. Like,
yeah, the sound.
Because the voices of the actors and the way they were talking and the script, the way it kind of rolled.
The way that it rolled and the sound effects were so discreet and you know, it's like going down the road and you could hear
you could hear it on the radio. Like if I just listened to this,
it had that radio kind of sound to it. You know, it was which was actually a little bit better than the little bit better sound overall than they normally have of this period. You know, it's like somebody was actually worried about sound.
I was wondering if they were, at least a couple of the actors might have been radio guys, because like the main actor came across like a radio guy.
Well, yeah, I love the fact that he was such a smarmy looking, you know, he switches from the lab guy to like super smarmy club guy.
Yes.
You know, and that was supposedly like half an hour after handing the head of his wife off to Igor after, you know, and then the love of his life gets killed in an accident.
And then he could be kind of charming, like when his friend that had the deformed face,
right? Which
really wasn't deformed; it was a scratch.
Yeah,
and she was probably the hottest one there. I think.
I mean, it's just but the best actress by far was the head.
Yes,
I mean her level of acting.
Well, the girl that was the body wasn't bad either. I mean, she was a decent actress.
Yeah, she's a decent actress, but that somehow that head just...
there was a point I was hoping he would just run off with her and say, "Oh, screw
screw it.
Forget the head."
Yeah, we'll get... Igor can have that one.
Right.
Yeah, so
and then I was hoping that she would connect.
Where's the part
head
two?
was going to go out with the creature. That's what I was hoping for, like the love connection there.
Exactly.
I was waiting for that.
You know, the funny thing is I thought that when I first saw this back in the 60s, I thought to myself, well, he should have left with the head.
Yes,
but then I thought, how would he leave with the head? How would that actually work? He could just plucked it on right beside him just scraped off his neck.
Well, maybe Kurt could have survived. He could have kidnapped Kurt and made him attach the head to his body.
Right. But you know what? Here's the problem. Here's the thing. We're lacking a part.
I could have written scripts back in the 60s.
We're lacking a part 2 to this sucker.
Yeah, we are.
I mean, you know.
Wasn't the man with two brains? No, that was Steve Martin. That was
Steve Martin.
Wasn't the same kind of story
That
either.
was ridiculous, yeah.
That was a great movie, though.
Yeah? Was that the one where they used stock footage?
Yes.
Yeah, right.
I think they used stock footage from Frankenstein. I think. If I remember right.
No, they used stock footage from all kinds of different films.
But there was definitely a clip from Frankenstein.
Oh,
with
yeah.
the brains,
sure.
The jars, I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm thinking of...
They had a lot of Cagney was in there, you know, on the verses. Yeah. That was a really funny film.
Do you remember, there was one that was like that. It was called Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid.
Right.
And that had a lot of like...
Right. That was absolute. That was pure
Yeah.
That was pure another film.
That was amazing, too.
Yeah.
And that's kind of one of those obscure ones that nobody seems to know about except for you. That's really weird.
It was in black and white.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
Steve Martin did a couple.
That's a good one.
Steve Martin did some really strange films in his career. You know, he started out with a bang. That Cicero, the Bergerac,
Yeah.
right? He did Roxanne, right?
Yeah.
He did Roxanne, and then
Well, you kind of jumped ahead to the 80s, though. What about, like, The Jerk back in the 70s?
yeah, well, that's yeah.
That was bizarre.
But I'm just saying that past that film, he started to do like just some very, very bizarre films,
like Novocaine and
all those really, really weird ones, and then he kind of came back to actual film, funnier or different, more normal stuff.
like
when
the
he
parent
did
ones, the where he's a dad. And
Right.
there's all those.
Right,
I can't remember what those are called.
He just
I
did
don't know why.
he did some really weird ones, and then he came back in with L.A. Stories,
Yeah,
which
L.A.
was
Story
pretty
was
good.
great.
That was a great film.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Now he's a musician. He plays the banjo.
yeah. Well, he always played the banjo.
Yeah, but now that's his
now
only purpose.
yeah,
it
his
seems
only
like.
purpose is playing the banjo.
It
yeah.
seems like he might be depressed because he doesn't really do comedy anymore. It's like,
You know what?
although his Twitter is still funny as
I
heck.
have read some interesting interviews by him over the years that he said that he knew that in the 80s, if he kept doing the stand-up, that he would wind up, in little tiny clubs doing that for the rest of his life, right?
Hmm.
So that's why he switched to writing. He says he just walked away from it.
Unless you go the
and
route
switch
of
over.
Robin Williams to do voices for cartoons. That's really your only option.
Yeah, exactly. So
It's almost like somebody switched his brain, though. Speaking of brains, I was like, how do we get back to the
yeah,
movie?
how do we get back to the movie? We're back.
So I think this was a pretty terrible movie if you look at it from the point of view of nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
But I think even back then, was it still kind of campy a little bit?
Yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
mean-
Oh, no. This definitely had the full camp factor. I mean, the things that they did that were so cheap in this film.
And you can't really take it seriously because it's really not a serious subject, really.
Yeah.
It's like-
it has all the earmarks of having, been filmed in a week.
yeah.
I mean,
Roger Corman feel to it. That's totally what
it really
yeah.
did. It had the
One set,
yeah.
basically, or one stage.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So I don't know. I actually kind of want to listen to it now. I want to just listen to the audio now and see what I
Yeah,
think of it.
you know what? Here's the thing I have to say. I have to say, it's a very short film, and it is a great example of the schmaltz.
Yeah.
Of the schmaltz horror films. If you were looking for that.
Yeah.
That's of the 50s and the 60s. This is the perfect example.
And it
of
opened with her voice saying, "Let me go. Let me die.
Let me die.
Oh, and I was looking, just curiosity. I was looking at this is on Amazon Prime.
Right.
So I was looking at the trivia.
Oh.
And one of the things that I saw was that apparently it was made into a musical in 2009. I was like, I would have loved to see that.
That would have been actually really funny. Yeah. that would have been good.
So let's see a remake. Somebody make this movie.
Let's do it.
Yeah, totally. Mel Brooks is probably too old to really take this on. Maybe not.
Yeah, he's in his late 90s, so yeah, you would think.
So there's got to be something. Maybe Seth
Meyer?
the stoner guy. Seth, what the hell is his name?
Seth Green.
Seth Green.
Yeah.
Seth Green. I can totally see Seth Green taking this on.
Oh, that's true.
So there you go. There's a challenge for you, Seth.
There you go.
Because I know you listen to our podcast.
Exactly. He's one of the 7?
Yeah. I think there might be at least 7D listeners.
70 listeners?
They're really lazy though. 'Cause
Really?
They never interact with us.
They never let us know anything.
They just gotta hide in the corner.
Although people tell me things all the time, they actually just get on my web page or on my Facebook and tell me directly. Yeah.
Well, you should post those
I should.
to our page, and then I don't know how that would work.
You've met me before,
Like
right?
a loop, right? Just kind of a loop.
You've met me before, right? Do you think I'd actually do that?
No.
Yeah, okay, you're right.
You do. You are very busy on Facebook. I'm like, how does this dude have so much time? I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. He's retired. Oh yeah.
That's true. True enough.
Because I was like, who? Like, there was one day I swear it was like because I had it on my my phone, just kept popping up.
Right.
Oh, Mick posted a picture. Oh, Mick did this. Mick redid this. And I'm like, oh, he has all this time to do stuff on his own page.
Well, you see, now you have to understand though, is I do all the shipping for.
You do post pictures of your wife's stuff, which I think is
Right.
awesome.
Right. My wife's stuff, that's our business. And the thing is you specifically have to understand that I have to call people and I have to get a hold of people to actually talk to them about shipping, because that's the only thing that works to explain it to them.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these people have never shipped anything before, right? And you send them a label and the chances are they're going to have no idea what's going on. But people are very hard to talk to these days. It's like if you can't lay it out in a text,
email or text,
or text, then they don't want to hear it. But the thing is at the same time, they also really don't want to read an email or text from me. So I have to get. So I'm sitting there and I do my best to get a hold of them. And so there's times that I'm just sitting in front of the computer waiting for them to come back. And so then I just sit there and goes, That's how I stay busy.
So today at my job, I was sitting there thinking about how I needed to email somebody, and apparently, they called me, and the woman on the phone was like, "I was going to email you, but it's such a complicated thing we're talking about.
Right?
I figured I'd just call you."
Somebody actually said that?
And I said, "Did you just say what I think you said?" It's because I totally agree. And she's like, "Yeah, people don't really do that anymore, do they?" And I'm like, "No," and I guess we do. So, but she was younger than me.
Here's the thing.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
So there's hope for the world, because she was a millennial that said this to me, a young millennial, not like an older one.
Here's something that I tell people is, if I had this with Jason Brooks, right? Jason Brooks.
Who's that?
Jason Brooks.
I've heard that name before.
Vengeance. He plays.
Oh, he was the guy that kind of wore the costume.
Right. Yeah, with the face plant and the mask and all that.
He was kind of creepy.
Yeah, and I've, he
also did makeup stuff.
Right, exactly.
That guy.
And I said, he says, "Could you order some makeup stuff for me?" And I said, "Yeah, I sure." And he gives me a list, and I happened to be doing that day. He was busy, and so I got on, and he says, "Well, yeah, you just go on the website." And I go, "You don't go on the website. Are you out of your mind?" He goes, "No, you just go in and you order on the website." I said, No. That's not how you work it, because you want to have a connection with these people. They're a makeup supplier, and you do horror films, right? Yeah. So
they want your business.
You get a hold of them, and you make a relationship with somebody on the staff, and then you keep that name. So, and the thing is, he says, okay, well, I don't really have time. And I said, well, I called up and, made a relationship, and the woman there then immediately set me up an account and gave me a 35% discount.
There you go.
On everything. Yep. And said, anytime you call, you just ask for me, and we'll work it out. And I got to ask questions, and because they know the product.
If you just do stuff on the web, you're paying me extra money, and you don't have any friends.
That's exactly it. Well, the thing is, if I had a problem somewhere or something, I think it was better that I have somebody specific
that
to
you
go
can ask
to.
For,
yeah.
They might be able to give you some extra product.
All right, so I taught the boy.
Here's a free sample.
I taught the boy a lesson. Taught the boy a lesson. So.
Well, he's a nice young man, though.
Yeah, he is a nice guy.
Yeah.
He is.
No, he's very talented.
He's very talented.
We haven't heard the last of Jason Brooks.
Oh, we have not. But the first of him turns my stomach.
I like how we're shaking our fingers.
Just like old people. You with your white hair, my long white hair.
Yeah, but I have braids to throw around. Oh, that's a reference to a previous show.
Yeah, previous show. Oh, yeah, we should go into that anyway. Hey.
So, did we even rate the brain that wouldn't die?
Oh, did we? I don't think that we did.
It's hard for me to rate it because I think it's pretty bad.
5.6. No,
it's pretty bad, but I really enjoyed watching it.
Yeah, it was bad. You know what? I have to see.
It's not the same without people talking underneath it, making fun of it.
Yeah, well, that's. But you've seen that. I haven't seen that with this film. I would say that Beans is such a prime example of horror schlock of the 50s and 60s, I'd have to say a 2.8 because it's definitely a perfect example of that. And so 2.5 would be our center.
Mm-hmm.
So I would give you 0.3 recommendation to see it because it needs to be seen just so that you can understand.
I think I was influenced
like.
by the Mystery Science Theater too much because I'd probably be right at 2.5 is being generous, I think. So I'd give it a 2.5 just because, but the melodramaticness is kind of killing it for me, really. Like there was some couple scenes I was like, oh, this is so painful.
It drips.
Yes.
It drips. It really does. But you know what? It's an example of being bad enough to actually be kind of good in a way.
I think it's worth watching.
Okay.
If you haven't seen it.
Well, there you go. I only have one thing. Please kill me. Kill me.
I told you to kill me.
I told you to kill me.
I like how that changed, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, man, I'm out of here. Oh.
Thanks for joining us on the Dream Warrior Review podcast. Don't forget to tell your friends about us, follow us, and, of course, like us. We can be found on Podbean, which is an amazing app, YouTube, Stitcher, Alexa on any pod, iTunes, Google Play. We're on Twitter as well, at DW Review, and, of course, Facebook. You can find us there. You can also email us at dreamwarriorreview@gmail.com.